welcome to the BCW Member Spotlight. I am Linda Tyler, Vice President of Membership and Programs, and your host today. I'd like to welcome Dan Castorella, CEO of the iconic American Christmas, and David Milowitz, Creative Director of ESP Creative, the hugely successful event and entertainment production company. Thank you for being here today. The two of you are specialists in the art of bringing joy and memorable experiences to your clients. Does that sound like a good description of what the two of you do?
Absolutely.
Yes, it does.
Dan, let's start with you. American Christmas is a 60-year-old revered Westchester County company. Tell us a little bit about the history of American Christmas and what you're most proud of regarding the work you and your team are doing. I really like the company concept, making the magic of Christmas happen for children and families.
Yeah, well, thanks for having us, too.
Our pleasure.
We are, just as it sounds, a commercial Christmas decorating company. We specialize in, a lot of the upscale displays in New York City, like Rockefeller Center and Radio City and so on. We focus on Christmas all year long. It's November now, and we're coming into the season. And we're out installing every day. And ironically, we're also starting on Christmas 2025 as well. So, we do around 750 installs, and we have about 400 clients, and it will all be done in the next 5 weeks.
Wow. Well, in a minute, we're going to get back to Christmas 2025 and thinking ahead. David, let's talk a little bit about the evolution of ESP Creative and the experiences you were creating for your clients. What is immersive technology, and what are some of the event trends that you're both noticing? Let's talk a little bit about the event production company and then the trends that we are both seeing in your fields.
Sure. So we started as an entertainment company and branched out to lighting, screens, production, staging, fabrication, decor. And coming from the entertainment side, we realized that when you produce an event, any type of event, the heartbeat is what the feeling is that people walk away from. And it's really entertainment related, and it could be something that you just see or something you interact with. With technology and projection and video screens and all the new technology that we see coming in from the various areas, everything is immersive, right? So hearing a song and feeling a song could be something that happens at the same time. We're working on this project right now where we have it's a new form of food, and it's really fun. So it crunches after you take it out and microwave it. It's a quesadilla, that microwave crunch. And our client wants people to understand that that's a sensation that nobody has ever felt before. And so we're building a room where we take that crunch and through modulating audio and through some video effects, we're actually creating art that each guest will get to create on their own at this experience and take home with them of their crunch. Oh. So that's just a microcosm of some of the things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. But I think you always want people to resonate. What is going to resonate after this meeting, right? What's going to resonate? And as you wake up in the morning, Christmas, by the way, total non sequitur. I want to be your kid when I come back. It must be Christmas all the time in your house. But
I think you're absolutely right. You're both creating memories that people walk away with and they savor, and that goes back a little bit to trends. You're talking about the immersive technology, the food trend. What are you seeing in Christmas decorating trends? Is anything changing a little bit, or what's new, and when should everybody be thinking about decorating?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot more tech come into the space. We're seeing a lot more audio come into the space. So on a residential end, you can buy displays now where the mouths of the characters move to music, or quite frankly, what you want it to say. Whereas on the commercial end, we're seeing more around RGB technology, where we can build custom displays where the lights twinkle and blink to a specific song, and it ties into their brand. So we're seeing more of that as well. New York in particular still continues to be very traditional for us. Trees, wreaths, and garland, lit and decorated in a traditional manner. But once we break outside of the New York area, it tends to go more into becoming like a show and an immersive experience.
Ooh, I hadn't ever thought of decorations being a show, but they really can be. That talks about to me, or that really dovetails into, for both of you, the customer client experience. Do you want to share some of your memorable experiences or ones that have really stuck with you? And then I think it would be nice to talk a little bit about what do you do if you have a client whose vision you don't think will work, or how do you handle that if you're trying to give them the best experience possible and what they have in mind may not be what you think they're ultimately going to be happy with. But let's talk about the customer, some of your favorite customer experiences first.
All right, so I come from the private events world, and you're doing life events, so it's a wedding, a bar mitzvah, a birthday party, milestone, and they're amazing because it's like they're covered with heat and emotion, and people are inexperienced, and you kind of guide these people through this process. But maybe a decade ago, I realized that the corporate events were actually, in some regard, easier to do and repetitive. So I will tell you, listen, I love some of my private clients. It's so amazing to give them this day that they're going to remember for the rest of their lives, and certainly the stakes are pretty high. But I have some wonderful clients in the corporate space where we get to, whether it's an event that's like a gala or a conference that we do annually or quarterly or whatever, it's fun to really develop a rapport with people and build things based off of whatever their brand is or what their message is. And I don't necessarily have a specific client in mind to share with you, but I just to say that experience of being able to repeat the process. It's like you have a baby, and how many people have lots of babies, but like every event is kind of a baby, right? And you give birth to that baby, and with some of our clients, we get to give lots of babies. I mean, I have a client we're with weekly, just about. And,
oh wow,
that's super fun. Some of the events aren't nearly as exciting as others, but the processes are enjoyable.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Do you want me to answer the other question, which is the other stuff? Or should we pass it over to Dan?
Let's pass it over to Dan, and then we'll circle back to aligning vision so people get ultimately what they want.
Sure. I have to agree, though, the process is the best part. At my business, I touch my clients once a year, sometimes twice a year if we do a non-holiday event firm. But it's, the process around developing these clients is ultimately what drives me. Every project we do is different. Every client we have is different. And I think from, my perspective, looking inwards at the development process, I don't have a particular job, but there is one that was unique. We had a client, a jewelry company, who wanted us to develop a holiday garland for their flagship in New York, and they wanted it all to be all preserved. So they sent us on a 3-month scavenger hunt, in a way, where we sent someone around the world essentially to find preserved florals. In Italy, Germany, we were in Peru. Some stuff comes out of Hungary. And what we did was we took all of these materials in from all over the world and kind of developed this one-of-a-kind piece for their new flagship launch on Fifth Avenue. And it's something we're still doing today. It evolves every year. But that for me, seeing the process seeing the process happen and going through that, it was just enjoyable. And what we always say is we try to make people happy. That's our slogan. That's our goal. And we believe that, the process is what ultimately drives that.
That makes sense. And that is, I think, part of the next piece of our conversation. How do you make sure that client stays happy? If they have a vision, but with your experience, it may not unfold the way they want. How do you handle that?
Yeah, it's. I have to agree, though, David. The commercial side is for us a better business. We'd rather be in it. We do some residential, mostly in wholesale now, where we sell to people who are doing it. But, driving the success of a client and keeping them happy, I think revolves around honesty, being upfront, and being extremely knowledgeable about the industry and what's possible. And I think that you're never going to make people happy all the time, but our goal is to deliver success. And, we tell clients no all the time. We're either not right for it or we don't agree with it. And ultimately, if the client wants it, we're going to do it if we can do it. And for us, it's, we put it out there, we give the expert opinion, but in the end, the client does have the final say in our world.
I respect that, though.
So-
You're candid.
Yeah, we are. And I've lost business before because I hadn't listened to the client. And you learn from that. So now you have to listen, but you can also give your expert opinion along the way. And then you make a business decision if they don't do what you want, if you actually want the business.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What do you think, David?
Boy, you just set my mind into direction. That's a great answer. So I'm a little more forthright than I think some of my colleagues would wish about my opinion on things. And listen, ultimately, our goal is, as you said, to make everybody happy, right? Our clients have a goal, and our job is to execute that for them. And there are certainly times where people come to me and they share what their perspective is, and I don't necessarily see a route to get there. And so a few different things may take place. I may recommend that they speak to another one of my colleagues that may just be able to look at, listen, we're creatives, right? So we all have our various superpowers in that realm. So there may be another person in my company that may speak their language. And in many instances, I mean, just yesterday, I suggested a competitor of mine, and essentially I have a great relationship with my competitors because I actually send them all business because there's plenty out there for everybody. But in addition, I believe that I want to put my head on the pillow at night and feel like I've done a great job and I've made really people happy. And if I don't think I can make somebody happy, I'd rather bow out.
I think that's fair.
I respect it.
I do too. I really do. And that's where the trust comes in.
Sure. And
truly.
And Dan, you mentioned certainly there are decisions that I make that are motivated by keeping the business or something in that realm. But it's very rare that a client, with the private sometimes because of the emotion that's involved, I'll have a client that's offended that I don't want their business. But for the most part, people respect it, and I actually have found that I've gotten more business from them by them, let's say, recommending me to other folks because of that honesty. And,
I agree. I agree. That's the trust factor, I think.
If we work on a job, bid on a job, and we don't get it because we give a recommendation that they didn't want to hear, or quite frankly, we just say we can't do it because of X, Y, and Z, and we're honest and upfront from the beginning, most of those people come to us and start working with us, and they typically never leave us. Mm. It also happens when we lose an account because we're too expensive. Typically, we'll lose them for a year, and then they'll come back the next year because they see what they get for the value, and we never lose that client at that point. So sometimes you got to play the long game.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, that's a good segue into the next question I have for you. As leaders of successful businesses, what advice do you have to give someone who is a budding entrepreneur who wants to start their own business?
So many directions to take this. I think writing things down. I have ADHD. ADHD is like my superpower in some ways, but also certainly something that slows me down and gets in my way at times. I think writing it down, talking to however many people you possibly can. Interestingly enough, these days podcasts are incredibly helpful and influential. There's your little as a plug, right?
I appreciate it.
For sure. No, but I think that every uber successful person that's out there has made tremendous mistakes, and you can't be afraid of making those mistakes. And oftentimes, mistakes take you into other wins and other perspectives that you maybe never even thought that your goal or your path was intended to take you to. So I would just, continue, wake up in the morning. I look at myself, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I don't know, I'm always happy. My family hates that. But, I'm singing and I'm upbeat and I do attempt to, sorry, I know you asked about it for a few entrepreneurs, but for me, it's just important to have a sense of exuberance for life and for what you believe in and your passions. And I believe that emanates off of you as you walk down the street. And own what you believe and own what you feel and sometimes it's interesting in our meetings with staff as we grow our business and talking about it from a leadership perspective. I like to, I learned this in therapy many years ago, reverse roles with my team, try different things on. So as an entrepreneur, right, go forth and attempt or try, and as a team, cross-pollinate. I want our sales folks to spend the day in the warehouse and understand not necessarily like how to drive the forklift. Some of the Gosha would love that, but how to pack a case and how to load a truck and
so
really,
everybody knows how to do everything.
Everybody, listen. Yes, in a small way, yes. Everybody understands what everybody else's roles are. And it's interesting because I have talked to as we've scaled our business, I've talked to other folks that are in business, and not everybody believes this or agrees with me, but I've found, I also, I want my clients to be happy. I want to come to work with people that are excited to be there.
So build teams, that's a good piece of advice. What do you think, Dan, as well? Build teams that, believe in what you're doing and have the same passion, right?
Yeah, I think building a solid team is key. I think in the beginning, it takes time to build up that team. You really are a one-man show in the beginning, unless you got big dollars behind you. But I think if you're starting from scratch and you're passionate about what you're doing and you just put all your drive and emotion and energy into it, ultimately, if you believe in the idea, I think success should come in one way, shape, or form. You will make mistakes, as you said, David, but I just think, you do learn from those mistakes, and ultimately the mistakes take you to where that concept or idea should be going, I think. So you just got to grow, take it day by day, and in my mind, just put your head down and grind.
That's right. Keep going. Don't give up. So what do you think about in terms of customer service and how, because that's key, right? Everybody has a customer, whatever type of industry or business you're in. And how are people finding you?
Yeah, so customer service is big for us at American Christmas. I put that on top of everything. I want our staff to be happy. I want people to want to work with us, as you said, and be at our firm. But customer service, I say I'll tear the company apart to provide good customer service. I'll lose money to provide customer service. I would do virtually anything. I would make my home life a living hell to deliver better customer service. And that is something that we kind of lost a little bit during COVID. And I'm pushing back hard now with the team and myself because the customer service has changed too at remote work and with just remote meetings and not being face-to-face all the time. So we're evolving. But I really think that to be successful, to have a sustainable long-term business that has been around, customer service is at the heart of what we and anyone would need to do and drive.
Want to share your thoughts on that?
I think it's important to make people happy. And I want people to, when they think about us or they think about their event, to smile and to just feel good about it. We're some of the events that we do are very stressful for our clients to produce. And so I think that having that happiness sort of permeate amongst our team and to our clients helps to drive business. I think the question, right, was like, how are we out there sourcing or bringing new business in? I don't spend a tremendous amount of time and effort on advertising personally. We do have a division of our company that manages that, but I found that the best clients come from the clients that we've worked with and their
word of mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Their feelings about us. I have clients that believe in us so much that they like they would put big billboards in front of their buildings and tell people about us.
That's the power of word of mouth, right? It's the trust. Someone you trust recommends anything right there. That just gives all of us more of an incentive to take that recommendation.
You know, American Christmas was sold 7 years ago, almost to the day. And at that point, we toyed around with the idea, do we change the name to the new parent company name? And we spoke to a lot of clients, and I never had realized how strong the American Christmas name was to our clients, because they all talk about us, and they all talk about American Christmas because they all know each other. And I think the word of mouth thing at that point is when I learned the real power behind it. And we, up until this year, we've never really advertised, like virtually nothing. I can maybe pick projects in my 23-year span on one hand where I could think about like that was tied to advertising. We've done very little. It's all been word of mouth, and just brand building, and quite frankly, picking up the phone and calling. And we, as a company, have shifted a little bit. This is the first year. Yeah.
Okay.
What I think you're hearing, what I'm hearing you say, both of you, which is so important, is your reputation is your brand is your reputation, and that means everything, correct?
Yes.
I wish we had a little more time, but they're telling me we have to stop, so I'm going to wrap, and thank you both for being here today. And to thank our listeners for joining us. This is a quick reminder that the BCW is the county's largest business membership organization with nearly 1,100 businesses who are members. Membership offers an award-winning calendar of events and programs, a highly regarded Ambassador New Member Mentoring Program, and a curated, customized, and strategic membership experience. To learn more and to join, go to www.thebcw.org. Thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your stories and your ideas with us today. We appreciate it.